Hey, welcome to another exciting Imposter Kings weekend. Simba, I believe it is the penultimate Imposter Kings weekend of this Royal Rumble Summer Tournament. Is that right?
I believe that it is. It could potentially be. We'll see. It depends on when we could schedule the final with Ben Dodd, the God, who is waiting in the grand finals.
That would be the kid, and right, just to recap where we are in the tournament right now, you are now witnessing the lower bracket semifinals between Yedi and Papaya. So the loser is out. The winner is through into the lower bracket finals. And who's waiting there in the lower bracket finals, Simbu?
It's the big bad goose.
The big bad goose. One of the
honk
true
and
kings.
honk and always blow things down.
That's right. For those of you curious what the TK designates, that means a previous tournament winner. You get that TK crown. You get that marked in all the tournaments. And one of these two players definitely has the skills to wear the TK crown, and the dedication and the talent. The only question is, can they survive in the tournament to get to the finals and win it?
Yep, that's right. And we have two, I would say, some more analytical players. I think this is going to be the last bastion of analytical players before we get straight into the hardcore, aggressive, kind of crazy, whimsical, maybe some ambitious, maybe might be a word I would use for Goose and the kids play. So it's going to be interesting to see. We have Papaya, who likes to go second. He likes to play the fool. He likes to play card advantage. So really methodical player. One with that amazing, queen, princess, warlord hand last time against Vilau. On the other side, we have Yedi, who is played the game for a really long time. Thumbs up, Dan. Played the games for a really long time. Has a lot of core fundamentals. Hates the elder, and is, I would say, probably more aggressive, but still likes to think through all of his lines before he makes his moves.
That's right. Again, both analytical, both, as is noted here in the chat, probably similar in play style. And what happens when you get two similar play styles together, a lot of times similarities there cause a lot of sparks, because you get players that see their strategies echoed back at themselves. And the question is, how do they adjust to it? Do they play outside of their style to try to throw their opponents off balance? Or do they just play to their strengths and see how the cards fall?
I can't help but think that both players are just going to play their standard game for the first couple hands, and then we'll see if they make any adjustments.
That's right. And things will get exciting again. We're playing the 7, and so there'll be swings as we go along. We'll see how the hand luck plays out. And we're about to step into Imposter King Stadium. Is that right, Simbu?
Yep. Let's go ahead and take our foot in to see what the first hands look like. All right. So we got ourselves, a hidden assassin already.
Oh, starting right away with a card that causes all sorts of mayhem when it's the face-down burn. So neither player is aware that the assassin is out of this match.
So Papaya was able to get the true king first, meaning he gets to choose who goes first. He chooses to go first, as, already breaking the convention that I set for myself where he likes to go second. Maybe that's just if he has the fool or something, but it looks like he wants to take initiative here. What do you think about these hands, Dan?
So if I'm Papaya, I think my hand is okay, but what feels bad is he only has one assassin countermeasure, which is the Inquisitor. Now, of course, you and I and the audience know that the assassins are out of play for this hand. Papaya does not. And I'd be playing around that, which of course will make me look pretty foolish if I go too deep down that line, because there is no assassin there. We'll see how quickly they find out that that's the case.
And speaking of the fool, Yeti's got the 6-1 combo. He's got the king's hand, so he's not, even if Papaya has the assassin, he's not sweating as hard. He's got all the assassin countermeasures. He's got a mystic. He's got a king's hand. He's got an inquisitor. So he's not worried at all.
That's right. So,
at all.
So of course, then the question becomes: is Yedi, hoard the countermeasures, anticipating an assassin play that may not come, and how much do they play around? Both players throw out an elder, not a huge surprise. Papaya, the kind of conventional line of successoring the zealot, and as for what Yedi chooses to do here, looks like an Oathbound will be his successor.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Papaya's going to lead off, and I would not be surprised to see the judge, and we do, and guesses the assassin and misses. So right there is some information coming to both players.
Yeah, I think the thing that's super interesting about that is that usually on the first hand, you're either feeling your players out or you're doing something crazy. Papaya, not Papaya, Yedi might suspect that Papaya is maybe playing Trixie right now. Let's just start off with a judge and say we have assassin. again, he doesn't have to really worry about it because he's sitting pretty with all those different counters. But if it was the other way around, I mean, it could be a trick hand. And so looks like Yeti goes straight into Soldier and asks for a Warlord, hits on the Warlord, goes to a 7. This is pretty powerful.
Yeah, and it's important to hit that because Yeti's setting up a Mystic play in the future. So it needs to disgrace a card and does by hitting on the Soldier.
Not to mention that the power is really important because, you don't want him to be able to hit a Soldier. So Soldier, when it guesses correctly, which he did properly, now has the ability to get +2. Look at that pink +2.
Nice. In a somewhat correct font as well. Very nice.
Yeah. No, I those are imported fonts. We get a flip. So this is a blind. Oh, sorry, not a blind flip because he was able to judge. He now knows for a fact that Yeti does not have the assassin. So he's going to flip early in order to get out of it. I think in this case, what he's going to try to do is play his low end cards and literally just go for a safe 1-point loss.
Yeah, and he's got the survival cards where it may work.
Yeti's not going to let that happen,
Yeti fetches
though.
the queen. Yeti, I think from Papaya's behavior, Yeti knows the assassin's not in play because that flip at that point really suggests that. So he pulls the queen out, then plays the princess. No ability.
Look at that. He's trying to go see. He's testing him to see, hey, do you have the Oathbound? Do you have the Elder? What's going on here?
Yeah, now.
He's putting a lot of pressure on, but the thing is that it's going to backfire on him when he knows he has the Warlord. So right now, Papaya could do an Oathbound into Warlord, and it's going to that would have to force a flip.
Yeah, it is.
So at least bring it down to 2.
Exactly right. Well, Oathbound into Warlord will ultimately force a flip because then Yeti would counter a King's Hand, then Papaya Zealots that, and then no.
No, he has to. So he's gonna Oathbound. If he hits the Warlord right now, Yeti has to flip, but he decides to Inquisit and Oathbound, which is the tucked card for Yeti. So that's real unfortunate there for him.
Oh my. Well, of course, I was about to say Yeti probably wishes that the Oathbound was available because he could 6-1 the queen back into his hand. But this outcome is not bad either to have the miss. And now Yeti, if he plays the King's Hand...
He's got 2 countermeasures here. He's got actually quite a lot of countermeasures. This is actually not terrible for Papaya. What he can do is he can play the Warlord right now, force the flip, hit the Soldier, and then he has a Zealot out.
Yeah, again, the curious thing...
So now it's 1 point. Like, Papaya just played this perfectly to get 1 point.
That's exactly right.
1 loss.
Papaya, that early flip may feel like an information-based premature flip trying to avoid the assassin, but also an early flip counteracted the Fool, which, given Yeti does not have access to the Oathbound, which he successored, is also being very helpful here.
Yeah, I think Yeti... he's going with the Zealot here. I think he's saving that Warlord to see if he can snipe out a win.
Yep, that might be...
He goes for the flip, so Yeti is potentially in trouble here, actually. If he plays this Soldier, I guess, he still has those 6-1 out, which is fine. Because I was going to say he could play Soldier, and then Yeti has to essentially respond with the King's Hand. If he doesn't, Soldier, you don't want to hit anything because you don't want him to be able to use his Oathbound. But if he does play his Oathbound for some reason, then he loses the game.
Yeah, and now this is really interesting. We talked about the Warlord being the pivotal card in the last hand of the tournament. In the previous match, it is again a pivotal card here. Papaya has a very strong position having the Warlord in his hand right now.
He's holding it too, which is the crazy. We kept on talking about how he could play it to secure a 1-point loss line. He's now playing it out and still being safe enough where he can still get that 1-point loss line. But I think he's now debating, hey, does he have that Oathbound? I checked. He didn't have it in his hand. Did he tuck it? If he didn't tuck it, if it happens to be the card in the discard over here, then he can be really aggressive. Now, then at that point, he has to assume that Yeti would have the assassin, maybe tucked away the assassin instead.
That's right. So, interesting dynamic here. You can tell that this is a pivotal moment because of the length of the time of play. Again, these players, when they know they're at the critical juncture, you can tell by how long it takes for them to take the turn because they're playing the lines out. So there's a Soldier, and Papaya gets his assassin again.
I like this because now, so he's guaranteeing, if he's right, that means there's no Oathbound, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's
if
right.
he's wrong, then it's an assassin. So he knows that the assassin's there. So
that's
it's just
right. And by keeping it less than a 6, then there's no 6-1 combo. Here comes the Warlord. Yeti left with the 6-1 combo left to play, and will pick up a card and thus win the hand. But only for 1 point. And there it is, picks the queen up, and that's the hand.
Chose the queen.
Yeah. Well,
he could have chose anything he wanted. He chose the queen.
So, that is such a fascinating hand. Both players playing extremely well. We saw the mayhem because of the tucked away assassin. Papaya did extremely well, not only to get just a 1 point loss out of a really disadvantageous position at the beginning, trying to guess at the assassin and missing, but set themselves up for a possible win by using the warlord effectively again. Are we seeing the meta shift that way, Sinbu?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm wondering whether Yeti's going to beat himself up on this one, because I think in this position you're in a really strong place, especially if you have so many countermeasures against the assassin. What he does here is he plays the soldier, and I think this was actually the problem. By playing the soldier here, he's now disgraced that, meaning that he can get a free flip. Right?
Yep.
He knows he doesn't have the assassin, so that threat isn't there. So he gets a free flip. Now, Yedi can't play his fool, which is a bummer. He put away his Oathbound, which I think he was trying to game out. Hey, he's going to guess my Oathbound to get rid of my 6-1 combo. But he has a strong hand here.
Yep.
I think you hold on to that Oathbound there. I'm not sure what to throw away. Again, we're omniscient. I'm sure there's going to be at Sinbu. This is you're dumb because you don't. But it's true. I have no idea what's going on. I'm paid to be here, but I think this is one of the pivotal moments right here is when he did that. And then when he pulls the queen here, he immediately goes princess. This sends out warning flags, right? Because now when you're playing the princess, you've now enabled this warlord to kind of just reign however it wants. If he pulls the king's hand right here instead of the Oathbound, I mean, Oathbound was the right guess, I think.
Yep.
But if he happened to say like king's hand or something like that, I think Yedi would have been dead to rights. So
that's right.
It's just like a dangerous hand that Papaya was playing on the nice edge, and I think it was really good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Again, we talked about it. That early king flip, assassin or not assassin, it also counteracted the fool. And by getting that king flip out early, not letting Yedi have a free fool play with anything to pick up, really did start to steer things Papaya's way. And right here, you figure, Oathbound is the thing to get to make sure you don't get the 6-1 combo going against you. Turns out Yedi had hidden the 6.
Mm-hmm.
And
pulls it here.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's another swing as this hand really zigzagged in terms of position.
That's right. Let's see what goes on in the second hand here. I think, knowing them, they're probably still talking about the hand. But just the community.
Yeah, I get
people are more interested about talking about their hands.
That's how the best players get better, is afterwards you get two great players together. The second when the hand is done, they go into forensics and they talk about
forensics, especially these two.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the strength of they learn from every hand. And, even though they're in the late stages of a very kind of pitched battle in this tournament, they still are curious, the students of the game, and they want to keep teaching each other even now.
Yeah. So we go into the second hand. Papaya is still the true king. That's one of the benefits of losing only 1 point, is you get to retain the true king. And now it's the other side of the story. He's got Mystic. He's got the Warlord. He's got quite a good hand here for being able to go for an assassin play. Sentry, I think this is the Sentry was it out last game too. Wow, look at that. Sentry does not want to play today.
Yeah, Sentry keep cooling their heels on the bench. Soldier is a face down burn. Yeah, Papaya having a very potent combo in Assassin King's hand. Yedi does have countermeasures, has both Inquisitors, but going second is going to be a liability here. But Yedi again with the 6-1 combo as well. So I wouldn't say that this is a terrible hand for Yedi, but missing both 7s and missing the King's hand, I would give Papaya, I think, the hand strength award.
Yeah,
in this hand.
I think Papaya really has to push his advantage here. Actually, one thing we didn't discuss about that last hand is, again, about going first. I'm really curious about that. We have to again, forensics. We'll do some post game analysis on that, but. In this case, Papaya, I think, wants to go wants to go second here. He doesn't have the Fool, but he's not really particularly afraid. Well, I guess maybe he is, of the double Inquisitor. He doesn't want to go second. You can tell he doesn't want to go first, but he's evaluating it right now. How bad would it be?
Yeah, exactly. Now, again, if you look at how Papaya would open if Papaya goes first, so you go first, either because you wanted to dictate tempo or you don't want your opponent to make the initial play. If Papaya, in terms of what he would play here, he has the judge to lead off. I'm just curious, judge into what?
Could just be a judge to force a higher player, especially if Yedi throws away his
soldier.
But He can also go a little bit more strong army. It's just that he has really good hand here, and you don't want to necessarily, throw away that advantage so early on, especially when you know that the opponent has their full arsenal of tools to kind of take care of it. So he does decide to make Yedi go first.
That's right. I think that's the right play. That's the play I think it would make in that spot.
He really is a master tactician on this.
That's right. And so, yeah, Yeti's going to have to lead off. And now if you're Yedi, you're thinking, okay, do I go right for the assassin, knowing I do have a second Inquisitor, but I am giving up tempo if I'm wrong?
That's right.
Or is there another play? Do I try to fish the king's hand out to start this match? Or do I find some other line, do something unconventional, go for the princess right away or something like that?
Well, Yedi is throwing away one of his Oathbounds, which is kind of interesting to evaluate that, especially since we know how much he doesn't like the Elder, and especially since he doesn't have the Warlord. So it looks like Yeti's going to go for an actual counterplay here where he wants to...
Do you see a 4-9-3 opening here?
If he doesn't hide the princess, that's certainly something that you can go for. I think Yeti's playing a little bit riskier than he... Well, that's not true. He does like to play somewhat risky, but I think the calculated line here is that he's definitely going to try to hit something high on that first Inquisitor.
Yeah.
He can't play passive, that's for sure.
Yeah, so again, that'd be intriguing to do 4-9-3. Now the princess is out there, and when you have a full combo, as he does, that's a really appealing target if you can grab it before it gets flipped either by your own queen or a soldier out there, and he doesn't have to worry about a soldier.
He's got that goose oil and water combo in his hand too.
The queen plus the 6-1 combo. Papaya throws the judge away, figuring I don't need it since I'm not going first. And I'm not planning on using it later. And now, in terms of what Papaya successorizes, this will be a very important decision. And Papaya knows it because, again, he knows that Yedi has at least one Inquisitor, almost certainly, and potentially two. And will likely lead off with one. Again, you never quite know, but will likely
puts the assassin away. Okay, standard.
Assassin.
Yeah, there we go. Interesting. Do you think Yeti's going to go for princess?
An interesting line would be 4-9-3, but instead he doesn't even lead off with the Inquisitor
and guesses assassin.
Guesses assassin. Assassin misses with the soldier. So he got a lot of important information, kept his powder dry.
Yep.
But also now Papaya has tempo. So it'll be interesting to see how that change in who's driving the hand.
Well, this is what I was saying is that he doesn't know whether Papaya would throw away a judge and or didn't have a soldier. But I do find it interesting that he does go with a 5, hoping to probably hit because his contingency, if he doesn't hit, is that Papaya can counterattack. But maybe he's just thinking, okay, Papaya's going to hold on to high-value cards. This is where I think it's really funny when Goose, for example, did that one time where he Inquisited Zealot. And in this case, it would have worked to his favor because Papaya kept the Zealot, and if you pull the Zealot, it's likely they put the assassin away.
Yep.
So.
Now, interesting here, Papaya just plays Warlord 7. Tempting to do a king flip here, knowing the assassin is not in Papaya's hand. You're not getting bad value out of that king flip.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all, actually.
Yeah, so it'd be intriguing to play. Now, if you're Papaya, that's not the end of the world to have a now dead assassin because that's another one of those little combos is Princess Assassin because now Papaya can potentially stick Yedi with that assassin later.
Is he going to hit with a Mystic? One thing I've noticed, by the way, this entire tournament after we got into the brackets is that the Mystic doesn't really often use its ability unless it's a guaranteed hit. I wonder if Papaya, knowing that he has a Fool, if he's going to just wait or if he's going to hit the 6s here. I mean, maybe that's the reason why Yedi threw away the Oathbound is because he knew that the Mystic was going to hit the 6s.
Yep. Now, if he does hit the 6s, there's still a king flip for Papaya potentially in the future. Or, it could be Yedi just figures I'll just pick a soldier up and get card advantage.
But he's got this king's hand. The non-eyes version too.
Yes, the non-eyes king's hand. In the 4-player game, there are 2 king's hands, and one has the eerie glowing eyes and one doesn't. In the 1-player game, it's only the non-glowing
well,
eyes.
actually, I think I usually play with the glowing eyes. I like the glowing eyes. People don't like the glowing eyes.
When you play with your deck.
I play with the glowing eye because I get to customize my own deck when I play.
That's right. If you buy a paper copy for $29.99 from MinMax Games. Papaya today, if you haven't, folks. All right. Well, things have gotten interesting here. So Yeti flipped, and Papaya, I think, is trying to run every line right now in terms of where things can go, and that might include that Mystic play. You think about all the possibilities. He could Mystic Force, potentially.
It's just you're giving up a huge value card when you do that, right? And I think that's the calculus, is that if you use the Mystic and they have the Fool, that's real powerful for them.
That's right. Now, granted, right now the Fool only would have that Soldier to pick up.
Hey, card advantage is card advantage, as they say.
Yeah, Yeti had to go first, so that would flip the card advantage back to Yeti. There's the Mystic, but just as a 7. So,
yeah.
And, Papaya was looking at their hand. I may have looked and said, if I don't use the Mystic here, I won't have much beef. Yeti going with the Oathbound into the Inquisitor to get now the Princess. So now we're going to see the 4-9-3, I think, Simbu.
Well, it's the 6-4-9-3. It's even more powerful.
That's right. Can't King's Hand it if it's played through the Oathbound.
Love it.
So 6-4-9-3. Papaya probably now pondering whether to do a swap, but here again, Yeti showing incredible knowledge, knowing if Papaya did successor the Assassin. If Papaya uses the ability, Yeti can't be stuck with a dead Assassin here.
Yeah, that's tough, and it's actually really smart and good foresight from Yeti. He's already flipped. He knows that he doesn't have the Assassin in his hand, and now he's saying, "Hey, if I somehow get this Princess out of his hand, he has a dead card in his hand."
That's right. So Papaya thinking carefully, what would I trade? It might be tempting to trade away your Elder, keeping your King flip as your one Queen countermeasure. There's the ability.
He goes with the ability. So he does want to trade. This might be, I love it when, so Zealot for the Fool.
Well, Yeti's thinking, I have nothing that's going to leave you the opportunity to play the Fool, and you don't have an Oathbound. So I think trading away the Fool was a really smart move there.
Oh, boy.
Giving the Zealot away.
What is happening in this hand?
So then Yeti, of course, plays Elder on top of the Princess. Papaya,
and the Warlord's gone already. This card right here.
That's right. Papaya now, I think, is in trouble.
This is, what a turnaround. Yeah, I think, I don't disagree with the swap. I think the Fool is Yeti is just throwing a bunch of cards his way that he can't use. The Assassin and the Fool are both useless.
Yeah, there's no setup for that. So Papaya now just trying to burn hand. I think if I'm Yeti, I'd be tempted to Inquisit out.
The Fool, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Be bold play, an interesting line. That King's Hand would be the obvious target. Now, again, one thing is Papaya does have card advantage, but also has 2 dead cards. So, there's King's Hand. Out it comes.
So now he plays his 3. He knows he has the Fool. He has to flip. He plays the Queen. He wins. Gets 2 points, and that's all she wrote.
That's right, and there it is. Yeti lays the Queen down, gets a 2-point win.
That is insane.
So, again, the question you've got to ask is, how does this hand look without a Princess swap?
Oh, man, I don't know. Let's take a look.
This is the hand state. So Papaya is the one who's going to elect whether to swap or not. Papaya did end up giving away significant hand value. So instead
that Zealot was really helpful for Yeti to win that.
Trading away Zealot for Fool. The Fool is completely useless because Yeti had no way of leaving a disgrace card for Papaya to play on. No Oathbound in play. Zealot, quite useful. So I've got to think that was the deciding thing that set Yeti up for winning Papaya for the 2-point loss here.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Yeti likes to throw away Elders, so maybe he's thinking, okay, I'm going to get the Queen here, and then we'll be fine. There's also the 6-1. Most people hold their 6 for their 6-1 combo, right? And now that you're showing this, swapping over the Fool, that might have been a surprise as well. I think it's just really hard. There's a lot of calculus going into this, and I think Papaya had to just make a decision. Where do you think the pivotal change was here? So, we start from the beginning, goes for the Assassin pick, plays the Warlord, flips. Now he's no longer the threat of Assassin. Papaya's probably thinking, that's fine. I got my Princess.
Yep.
Now, he plays his Mystic with no ability, but he wasn't accounting for, I don't think, the 6-4. Because you're thinking here, if he plays one of his many Inquisitors, I can King's Hand it. But when you get the Oathbound into Inquisitor, you're sacrificing hand size to be able to. He went first as well, so he's burning his hand.
Now at -2, right?
Yeah.
And so, do a 6/4. Doing Oathbound into anything when you started out without card advantage is really risky. And but it played beautifully. So pulling the princess out, and then the swap. Something Papaya may not have counted on that Yedi did is right at the beginning. He threw away an Oathbound, which, again, is not common to do. I mean, you sometimes see folks do that, but not with the hand that Yedi had at the start. And so I'm sure as part of the card calculus of wondering what was where, Papaya may not have been counting on that, and that may have colored their play in a way that hurt them later.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him about that, but that is a tough hand. I feel like there's a lot of momentum going Yeti's way right now, and I think it's just up to Papaya to see whether he can take advantage of the plays that he's seen in the first two hands with his future hands, and make sure that he's able to actually nail the lines that he wants to. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what their next hand looks like here. Weird.
Fascinating. Okay, so again, Papaya remains a true king.
Yeah.
Papaya is both the utility cards and a queen, and then Yedi. So both sevens out. Mystic face up, the Warlord face down.
And Papaya just mulligan.
Papaya looked at that and thought, I'm going to die with this hand. Especially 3-0. You start to feel momentum going away. You get a marginal hand like this. Chuck it. Try again. And I think that's probably the right call here.
Yeah. Nothing much to say about this hand other than Yedi had a pretty strong hand. I think Papaya maybe could have dropped it down to 2 potentially, but it's just not the best hand. And according to Dan Koch, the rule is once you mulligan.
It's the golden rule of Imposter Kings. If you mulligan a marginal hand, you're guaranteed to get a worse hand. And hey, it happened again, I think, here. Because I think this hand is actually maybe even a little worse than the one Papaya just threw away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the 7s being out in that last hand would have maybe given him some help. But in this case, this is not a good looking hand. And this is, I think it's just because it's top of mind reading the kids article about mentality and going into this. This is a tough place to be in as Papaya. You really want to make sure that you solidify your mentality, and you can give up 2 points to do another mulligan, do another roll of the die, or you could use this hand to kind of tease out some stuff. As we've learned from the previous games, I think most people mulligan in these cases.
So it's interesting. So important thing to know here about Imposter Kings: 6-0 is not a death sentence. As a matter of fact, in the group play, not to get heuristic about it, I was down 6-0 and won a match. So you can.
Who was that against?
That was against. Oh, you want to?
It's the stream.
Yeah, no, we'll let that game. Let that game.
And this is a good reminder that you can see all the games in the group stages. But go ahead.
But so key thing about this, right? So even if you do get a 3-point loss, you can still win this match. That's the mentality element. Now you are asking yourself right now, do I want to try something here, or do I want to guarantee 5-0 where I can still lose a 1-point hand, wriggle my way out in the future?
5-0 is much better than 6-0.
5-0 is better than 6-0. I mean, that might seem obvious and tautological, but there is a very significant threshold in the scoring there. So if I'm Papaya, I think I do throw this away, but again, it's possible he's looking at a line that might allow him to wriggle out. So we'll see.
I like to play all hands, and this is one that I would probably throw away even at a 2-point loss, just because the thing that's really worrying is that he doesn't know where the assassin is. And yeah, not knowing where the assassin is, you do not want to mulligan this hand, but I think it's probably the thing you have to do in order to make sure that you don't get that 3-point loss. That, King's Hand Assassin, one of the most potent combos in the game.
I gotta say, it's kind of amusing looking at Papaya's hand, where it seems like even the Warlord's like, boy, I'm stuck with these losers. Look
at his
face. And a lot of those cards can be really useful. There are a lot of survival cards, both Oathbounds, the Elder, the Zealot, but it's just not enough, especially with no countermeasure for the Assassin. So I've got to think Papaya is going to chuck this. But I think the reason for the length of the investigation here is, you in some ways
He's got
when you
2 Oathbounds
Yeah, if you do
and
it-
a Zealot.
if you do a 2-point mulligan, you feel like it's a failure. Like a great player would have somehow found a way to minimize this. Now Papaya is a great player.
I think that's why he's doing all the lines.
Yeah,
He's like he's
exactly.
literally mathematically proving that he can't win
That's
more
right.
than
The meme of someone with the
Beautiful mind.
figures, the beautiful mind style figures emerging in front of their face is going on Papaya's head right now. Papaya mulliganed. Yep, threw it away.
But then make Yedi go first before he mulligan, which I enjoy.
That's right. And that Papaya will retain the true king. This match, even at 5-0, is not even close to over yet.
That's true.
But again, what we saw is another example of the golden rule of imposter kings. If you throw away marginal hand, you are guaranteed to get an even worse hand. Simbu, did you have that coded into this client? Is that something that's on the Jira board for this?
The Jira board? No. I think, that's what happens when you have a game where you have to draw cards. There's a lot of utility in trying to few Exodia hands, and you get that unbalance. But I think part of 18 card standard is you have 7 points to play with, and you have to really maximize and minimize, as we saw what the kid did in the upper bracket. Sometimes there's no way around it, but I do think that these games in the first 2 rounds were quite back and forth in terms of who could have won it depending on the lines. Now, we are seeing that Papaya does have a much better hand here. Assassin's not in play. He's got 7, 8, and a 9. It's a real mean move for Yedi to mulligan this hand, just take it away. But
again, that would really be tempting the golden rule to throw this hand away if you're Yedi. Papaya has a strong hand here, a lot of beef, and no assassin to worry about. King's hand, a lot of utility. Going first would be very strong with the judge into an inquisitor to basically play Yedi's hand for him and use up a lot of his beef that he needs here.
Yeah.
Yeti not without weapons. Still has the sentry, still has the queen, has the 6-1 combo, which doesn't combo well with the queen, but is still a weapon.
Yeah.
So, there are tools that Yeti has, but if I'm Papaya, I'm looking like I've got to make it happen this hand. There is pressure right now. Like I have to maximize this, try to get 3 or at least 2 points out of this. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and now we're going back to let's figure out what we're doing. Is this going to be... Oh, so Yedi does go first here. I think that's right, based on, Papaya's play style. He does have like a judge inquisitor. We've been seeing that the judge has been falling out of favor. I shouldn't be saying that to Mr. Battery himself.
Well, you're talking to me, Mr. Battery. You saw how well that went for me. It is interesting, the meta. We're talking about the judge as like the fait accompli opening play, but... both players have been not doing that, and oftentimes it seemed like the right play not to do that.
Great French there. Are you watching the
fait accompli?
Oh, are you watching the Olympics?
The Olympics have already sunk in.
More breakfast with Wimbledon's over, and now
it's the Olympics. So
it's à midi à Paris.
I think that's some French you said there. Paris, that's French for Paris. Anyway,
you don't pronounce the S.
You don't pronounce...
Or like half the language, honestly.
All those extra letters.
Shout out to Coco if she's in the chat. She's going to be very upset with all of the French that's happening right now.
Very distressed. But yeah, so Papaya is sticking Yedi with going first here. If I'm Yedi, it'd be curious to see how I lead off with this. Likely soldier lead, I would guess.
It's just there's a lot of beef on the other side. It's just.
Do you do an elder lead?
Oh no, I'm more of the Oathbound lead. Get rid of that 6-1 combo. You're gonna nail it. Don't worry about it. Hit that Oathbound early, and either threaten that if he doesn't have an Oathbound, he can't play it, or make him play something higher value. I mean, you could do the same thing with just nailing a soldier. But the thing is that if there's one thing that I've
he throws the Oathbound away, tucks the queen.
Does this Yeti? This Yeti. He's throwing away He's throwing away the things. Everyone's putting royalty in the successor. He's throwing away but he's no longer throwing away elders. He's just throwing away.
Wow. I mean, again, it seems like with that hand, a high value card to keep both soldiers and throw an Oathbound away. When you have the full,
Mamma mia.
That is a daring move. But with Yeti. Yeti does things like that, and then they pay off. He sees lines that no one else sees. That's what makes him so dangerous as a competitor.
Let's go. King's hand. Knows he's got the king's hand. You got the king's hand.
All right.
I know it.
Yep. Boost that up to a 7.
Decides not to disgrace it. Wow.
Yeah. That's right. especially when you don't have a mystic. That's
I'm like the anti-commentator at this point. I'm just literally all the bad moves I'm pointing out, but hitting that guaranteed king's hand is really good. If that was the throwaway card, that's still information that he could use. So I think that's the right call. You don't want to call the princess here, and I think he tucked the princess thinking Papaya tucked away the princess thinking he had this secret oathbound over here.
Yeah.
Inquisitor.
Yeah, King's Hand, a great micro guess there, micro advantage there. And, there's certain cards that if you just want to make sure you hit your soldier, you tend to pick. King's Hand is one of them. Cards that are strong, not likely to be successored. So
no one successors the Mystic anymore.
Yeah, Mystic unlikely to be successored. Warlord frequently not successored.
Do you think he got rid of the Oathbound because he was going to think that if he missed the soldier hit, that the Papaya counterattack was going to stop? Because, here's one line, is he plays the soldier. If he misses, Papaya judges. Again, another one that's pretty guaranteed is the Oathbound. Oathbound's queen, good throwaways. Basically, there's nothing in his hand that people would normally guess. Then he could hit back with the soldier. Do you think that was kind of the thought process there?
Maybe. Again, it's possible.
Flip.
We really got to ask after this match.
Flipadelphia there.
So, flips on that. Interesting. So
he flipped pretty fast too. I'm wondering. He had the sentry. He didn't want to play the sentry.
Yeah, that was a set play. Now, if you're Papaya, do you think now I go judge into something? Force more Yedi to use precious cards. Now, granted, Yedi kept both soldiers, so a judge play is not that bad.
He's got that Inquisitor he could just hit hard with. I mean, you hit Inquisit out really anything. It's pretty.
Yeah, getting the Sentry or the Queen would be very damaging right now for.
Yeah. You hit that Queen, you flip it, and then that's a pretty powerful hand for Papaya.
Now, Papaya is playing for 3 points here, I think. And if I'm looking at hand state, I would think 3 points are possible.
Especially since he got rid of his Oathbound.
That's right. Yeah. Now, granted, again, Papaya, strongest card is successored, which makes 3 points difficult in the situation. But you can believe right now Papaya is thinking through, how can I get 3 points out of this? Nope, doesn't judge in the Inquisitor, just Inquisits the Queen out straight.
I think that's the right play. So now he has flip, and then he gets a guaranteed 2, I think, if he does that. Which is, that's where he goes.
Okay, yep.
Gets rid of the Fool threat. And then now he just can bludgeon. The one thing that's annoying is that Yedi went with survivable cards.
Yeah, Yedi has Elder, Sentry, and Zealot.
Even the soldier's annoying because you're like, oh, well, if I judge, he goes with the Fool.
Plays the Fool while it's possible. Not a bad move, actually, to try to survive
it's
it out.
Egg in the face, though. Now he's also enabled Papaya to be able to hit with a Mystic on 3s, and that's going to be a game over.
Yeah.
That's the one reason why you would hold on to that Fool, is because you don't want him to be able to do a Mystic play.
Yeah, Mystic 3s. Now, granted, you'd burn one immediately playing on the disgraced card, but you're going to have another that's dead. Can't make any use of it.
And then the princess just wins.
Yeah, princess is a KO punch. But again, Papaya doesn't know that Yedi threw away an Oathbound.
Mm-hmm. But he does know how many cards he has in his hand, which is very low in that case. So if he does, for example, if Papaya Mystics 3s right now, and he does have an Oathbound, he's going to likely play one of his burned things.
Yep, he did Mystic the 3s. There we go. So
if he had an Oathbound, so he'd play this. Papaya would actually play things that are low to kind of bait out the Oathbound, I think, until he knows that he doesn't have it anymore, and then drop the princess.
Yep, that's right.
He can also force swap because he has card advantage. I mean, this is a clear cut Papaya win hand.
So it is interesting, within the ludic world of the Imposter Kings, an elder who has been mysticked, what does that mean they can no longer do? Because they're still a 3. Does that mean that no one listens to them anymore? The Mystic has discredited them in the court in a way where their uncanny powers to talk over royalty has been denuded?
Yeah, so if we look at the lore here, it says she spoke and the court is silenced. So she's technically known as a silencer, which means that when she speaks, the lines coming from her mouth.
She has the voice a little bit, like
Correct.
From Dune.
So if she says something, it cuts everyone from being able to speak. And that thing, she is of course disgraced because no one likes magic in the kingdom of Nerseti. And so when she reveals or uses her magic, she is disgraced from the court. However, her lingering effects prevent the elders from being able to stop.
So no word from the elder there. Papaya pops down King's Hand. Yeti plays the sentry with the ability, and he's going to trade for the king's hand.
This is dangerous just because, I mean, Papaya still has the winning line, but this is now, he's threatening, hey, I have an Oathbound instead of the soldier.
Yep.
So Papaya has to think through that. The safe play is to judge, but then the issue is that the safe play is to judge and not to antechamber something, I believe.
Well, again, if he just plays princess, the hand's over.
Right, correct.
But again, it's the Oathbound.
I'm
being
saying,
burned,
assuming this is an Oathbound
Yeah.
here, then what you do is you play the soldier or the Oathbound and then be like, your move.
Yeah,
there it
judge
is.
with no ability, just lay, which you can do, just lay it down as a 5. And now Yeti will,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, he should play the soldier technically in case Papaya messes up and decides to swap.
Yes, that's right. So, all right. Although even in a swap.
Well, in the swap, he king's hands the swap.
Oh, right. Yep.
So you definitely want to make sure
But I mean, Papaya knows that Yeti has the king's hand, so that would be a huge
I'm just saying,
mistake.
if he plays the king's hand, he loses no matter what.
Yeah.
If he plays the soldier, he has a chance.
So that's what he does. Soldier, princess. Now Papaya will, Yep, there we go. Lays the princess down.
Just does it.
And gets 2 points out of this. So good win for Papaya, getting back in this match. A 2-point win. Again, played very well using the stronger cards and knowing that Yeti is very dangerous even when cornered and can find wins from odd places. But Papaya plays it well, plays the right line, gets 2 points out of this. And we go into the next hand, 5-2.
I think the pivotal point here is, first of all, he gets rid of that Oathbound, which I think is interesting. It's something that Papaya had in the back of his mind throughout the game. But I think that when we get this flip here, right? So Yeti's like, okay, I'm happy with this flip on a 7. I know you don't have, I want to get my queen into my hands. This is where I think he gets the power. He's now able to get out this queen, and then he can flip for free, knowing that he's neutered the best, according to him, best card in the game.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So at this point, Yeti decides to play the fool, but because he plays the fool, it's like layers on layers. Now he's enabled this mystic on 3s, and at that point, now Yeti's lost 2 points.
Yep. I always love a play of the fool on an all-disgraced court. It's like the fool coming out and saying, "Why not me?"
Hey, you know what? Everyone else sucks. I might as well come out here.
The best hand is when it's an all-disgraced court. The next to last play is a fool who's like, "Why not me?"
And then the
assassin
pops up.
comes out, and this kind of voiceless killing machine is like, "Why not me?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, I think we'd rather her."
Yeah, I
than
think
him."
I think at that point it's just assumed the assassin's killed everyone.
Yeah.
So there we go. Papaya, some luck is starting to turn into Papaya's way.
If you play a 7-point hand,
Yeti and mulligans immediately. He doesn't even wait. He's just,
Wow.
nope.
Chucked it, and it's the right call looking at this. But again, as we talked about, if you maximize, the 7-point hands will equalize, and that's what's happening here.
All right, and go straight into the next one. And
wow, power cards out, princess out, and then the king's hand face down.
But no one knows that this is out. So this is hopefully this. I mean, this is
now, if you're
crazy for both sides, actually.
If you're Yeti, you're thinking of 2-point mulliganing this, I think. Now, king's hand being out means you're not as desperate a situation as you think, but you're in a pretty bad spot from what you're looking at.
I think you still play it, though. I mean, you play for an inquisitor one of your inquisitors to see if they have the assassin. If they king's hand it, you got a second inquisitor. You do that because I think what's going to happen is, so he's true king. He gets to choose who goes first. You get that assassin out of here, you have some survivability here.
Yeah, it's true. Being the true king is very important. Being able to go first with this hand, because this hand does have options for tempo, and you do have a 6-1 combo. So there's a power. That is a powerful move, and you have a lot of countermeasures for the assassin and survivability cards. So this is a hand that you can play.
I think you play this.
Now, if you're Papaya,
I mean, obviously I see this.
yeah,
but here's the thing: you see that the princess is out, right? You have an answer for the other royalty. You have a 6-1 combo. You have double inquisitor. You have some mystic power play too, although no one ever plays the mystic.
Yep. Except in the last hand where they did.
Well, I mean, again, I said you don't play the mystic unless you know for sure what they could possibly have. Yeah. I mean, sorry,
yeah, there are speculative mystics. It's unusual to play the mystic early, and. Here we go. The Papaya, if you're Papaya, you've got a reasonable hand, But I think what you're strategizing out is, knowing I don't have the king's hand, can I make the assassin count? And do I have a beef to win? Do I have the beef to win any other way? Not going first. Not knowing, of course, that Yedi does not have the king's hand.
And I just think, the big thing is that Yedi doesn't have... he has a way to essentially almost... I think he thinks he can guarantee the...
Throws the assassin.
Yeah,
Papaya
I think
throws
that's the right thing, because I think Yeti's going to be desperate to find the assassin. He has a couple of answers, and if he expends all of his resources trying to find the assassin, Papaya may be able to push his advantage and get to that 5 points.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, big thing for Yeti, you have these survivability cards, but if you spend all your time rooting out the assassin, you're not going to survive the beef in Papaya's hands. So I agree. I think that's a really smart move on Papaya's part to just do away with the assassin, preserve all the other resources you can have.
He wants to go hard.
Of course, granted, that does mean keeping an elder when you have the only royalty card in play. But, there might be something to that. So we'll see.
What is there to that?
I don't know. I was trying to be generous. There's probably something to that, but I probably would have thrown the elder away instead of the assassin.
I mean, you can play an elder on an elder. There's that, which that Yeti's going to have to play probably an elder on your queen if he misses some of his inquisits. It's not like Papaya has inquisitors either, though, so he's not going to force the 3 out. I'm not sure if I agree with that elder. Papaya definitely thinks through his hands, so I'm sure he'll be able to explain it to us.
Yeah, I mean, again, with Papaya, second guess at your own risk. Papaya thinks through these things at an extremely high level, so it's very possible he's got a line play there, or maybe again it's just make for whiffs. The advantage of a dual assassin whiff is worth keeping a card of slightly lesser value for the purpose of the hand.
I call that the WAFO, the wait and find out.
Wow.
With Papaya, you got a WAFO.
That's right. So, all right, Papaya successors the Elder, Yedi successors the Zealot, and now Yedi to lead off. If you're Yedi, I would assume going to lead off Inquisitor here.
Fool, probably.
Probably leads off with the Fool. Gets rid of it right away. No. Fool
Yeah,
once again leaning out and saying, "Why not me?"
I think he starts off on the throne. I'm the fool, I think that there's no other play other than an Inquisitor here, and I think he's probably gonna have to tease out Assassin first. You're gonna have to. I mean, he's not in that dire make or break stage of the game yet, so like losing here is not a big deal, and I think you play safe, and playing safe is playing the Inquisitor. Now, of course, I get really excited when people do what we call. I think you call it top dogging.
Top dogging, yeah.
Which is where you flip.
With no countermeasure for an assassin and not having it accounted for.
So goes assassin. That's the safe play. Papaya now has the battery. He also can just start bludgeoning with high value cards, and then it becomes a push your luck game for Yedi, or at least in his mind.
Now the battery can hit very hard here because Yedi does not have much meat. So going 5 into 5 turned into a 7 really gives Yedi a lot of trouble. Papaya guesses Inquisitor. That's just a safe guess, just to get the judge active.
I'm not sure if that's safe, but it's interesting because some people will put away the Inquisitor. Maybe he's thinking he's got a Zealot, so he probably put the Zealot away.
Yeah, so hits on that.
Puts nothing.
Interesting.
Holding on to that soldier.
Yeah, it's smart because Papaya's going to have to make a hard play here, and you've got the beef for whatever.
Yeti's going to have to make a hard play.
Yeti's going to have to make a hard play, right? And so you're not giving away the intelligence of what's coming to Yeti and not locking yourself in. That's a very smart pro player play there.
Yeah, I think that if there was a disgrace card, then you definitely don't want to do the battery because he can just get a free Mystic without losing value.
Bingo.
Because they have to play it no matter what.
And you force the Mystic out with no ability there, so exactly what happens.
So here comes that push your luck part of the game where... if Papaya plays something big, 6-1 combo can snag something back up. If Papaya plays his queen, then that's he has to play his elder essentially. Test to see whether Yedi did keep an elder. Now, of course, I said Yedi doesn't play elders, and then every single hand he's kept an elder.
That's right. Now 6-1
throwing away Oathbounds for elders. So
that's right. Now 6-1 to pick up a Mystic. I'm sure one of the things Papaya's thinking about is that so bad? Or maybe to pick up the Judge or the Inquisitor. Those are good cards out there, but the question is, are any of them decisive with the lines that are available? And is it worth keeping your queen around to allow that to happen?
Yeah. I think Papaya will probably want to hold on to the queen there. Lots of different decisions here. He's got every color of the rainbow to choose from.
Yeah, this is a really interesting set. And again, you can always tell when a player is playing through the different lines when you have a longer turn like this one.
And Papaya thinks that Yedi has a king's hand here.
Yes, that's right. That is exactly right. So, intriguing. Again, it's also possible Papaya could just lay out the Warlord and just keep dragging the beef along. And then, anticipate maybe 6-1's coming. We've also seen Yedi have the Oathbound tucked away or even burnt. So, it's possible the Yedi doesn't even have the 6-1 as far as Papaya knows. Nope, goes out with the Oathbound.
I think that's I think that's the right play because if Yedi does have the king's hand, he plays the king's hand. You have that sentry power. He's opting to flip. I think he wants to get value out of that.
6-1 is his most powerful combo, and he wanted to get maximum value out of it.
Not only get the maximum value, but also see if he can get a king flip into a fool. Of course, the queen is going to be a huge detriment to that, and so he needs to get that fool. He needs to either get that fool out fast, or he needs to get rid of that queen. Unfortunately, once the queen comes out, it's
Now again, what would be a very pressuresome play is for Papaya to play the soldier and intentionally miss. Again, denying the 6-1, is still putting
that is
real hand pressure on Yedi.
Super painful. Yeah, flipping this early, I think, is a really tough call. But the other part of it is that, what else are you gonna do? Are you gonna? So I mean, this is the reason why this is tough is because Papaya is now looking for blood. He's looking for a 3-point hand here, and I think if assuming the king's hand is in hand, I still think that soldier play is the right one. Queen is a good choice too. Now Papaya has to be really careful about his king flip.
That's exactly right. So there it is, 5, and
Watch
he
this.
guessed right.
He knows he has the Inquisitor in his hand, so he knows he can hit the Inquisitor. Disgrace. Hey, people who think that the soldier's bad, check this out. Papaya just held it in his hand, and now it's going to probably win him the game. He is.
There it goes. Yeah, and now
he disgraces everything.
Everything
I love it.
Goes now. If you're Yedi,
it's a fire sale.
Yeah, if you're Yedi, do you just play the Naked Fool again? Another Naked Fool play.
This is a Naked Fool play because what Papaya is trying to do is win, and what you need to do is hold on to your zealot. That's basically it.
No.
So I mean, I wouldn't Naked Fool. What I would do is I'd use Inquisitor to try to pull something that they have. He does successfully get the Sentry.
Yep, and he's got to play it. Yep.
I kind of wonder if he's just going to use it to make sure he doesn't pick it up. Nope, no ability. So it puts the pressure out. He's got the Zealot. Zealot's going to be pretty powerful here.
Yep, that's right. You could.
This actually might turn around. This might be a turnaround.
It could turn around because
Papaya cannot. Oh, this is tough. Like this is why I was saying might want to use the Zealot or the Sentry because now he's guaranteed a Sentry. So if he king flips, you play the Fool. If he plays the Oathbound, you play the Oathbound. He king flips, you take the Fool. Sorry, the Sentry. He's gonna get the Sentry.
This has gone bad for Papaya here. Actually, the hand state has gotten very weak. Yedi holding on to the 6-1 until the final moment.
What?
Ooh.
It's that king's hand that evaluation of the king's hand. I think has played a different line in Papaya's head, and now Yedi's taking advantage of it.
But now if you're Papaya, you might be thinking, can I get away with a 1-point loss here?
Yeah, they can.
Yeah,
for sure. Because what you do, that's the right way to think about it if you had omniscience like we do.
Yep.
And in that case, I did the math, but now I forgot it. I think he plays the, he flips now. They play the Fool
to get the Sentry, most likely.
Gets the Sentry. No, you don't want to flip it. I think what you do is you play your Oathbound, you make it so you have no cards in hand, and then when they play their Fool, you play your Elder. So yes, he has to play his Oathbound here if he wants to go for that. So this is a 4-point swing. He was going to win with 3 points. So now the play right now, the line for Papaya, the best line for him is he plays his Oathbound. I might be wrong in this.
Wait. Yeah, hold a second. So if he plays his Oathbound, then
Yedi plays the Oathbound.
He
has to flip.
He flips.
Fools, grabs the Sentry. You play your Elder, and then he wins. Yes.
Yep. So Okay, so there it is. Oathbound down. Perhaps.
So he is going the line. Let me just make sure I'm not on the Discord. Just kidding, guys.
Yeah.
This is like obvious at this point.
Counter Oathbound. There's the flip. Here's the Fool. Now again, if you're Papaya, you might think he lays down a king's hand here and you've lost the match, but he's not going to. He can breathe a sigh of relief. There it is. Elders down. Yedi wins the hand, but only 1 point. That's that 2-point mulligan pivotal here, giving the headroom to survive this hand. But if you're Papaya, you think, dang, I was hoping to win this.
Yeah.
And then instead I walk away down 6-2.
Well, at least he's not out. That's right. The main thing. And I think, boy, there's a lot here, right? So it starts off with the assassin pick. He goes for the Inquisitor, does not choose to use it. Mystic, no ability. I think this part right here, this is where a lot of different branches could happen. He elected to go with the Warlord, assuming that Yedi had the King's Hand. So Yeti's going to flip here, and he basically either had to do that or 6-1, right? At this point, playing the Queen was not a bad play, but the issue is that he doesn't have a response for the Fool. One of the responses is obviously to disgrace everything.
Yep.
But the problem with this is that now Yeti has enough cards that he can call out the Sentry, and this call out is actually exactly what won the game for Yeti.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, Yeti kept his powder dry right until the end with the 6-1 combo all the way to the end. So the Queen comes out, the Soldier disgraces everything, and yet he still had enough mayhem left to pull out a strong card for the 6-1 to extract.
Yeah.
And again, that's just some very savage play on his part.
He's gonna have the King's Hand for losing, but yeah,
True King,
True King, yeah. But this is that'd be funny if you actually got the
Free
King's Hand.
Yeah.
And this is coded in the game where if it's almost a guaranteed like last game, you have the assassin thrown away.
Assassin thrown away. Now Papaya, I'm sure, is looking at his hand and thinking, well, dang.
He got 2 good hands, and now it's back to not the greatest hand, and especially if you want to try to skimp away with 1 point.
Yeah,
I think this is a frustrating position for Papaya to be in because he fought tooth and nail in that last hand, maybe could have gotten a couple points, and he's deciding to go first. I mean... He has to play with the assumption, a lot of assumptions in this hand.
Yeah, I mean, again, assassin unaccounted for.
He went really fast, too, which makes me feel like maybe he's just
his
resigned to a specific line.
Maybe, or, you can Mystic 8s would be powerful. You can 6-1 into something powerful.
He doesn't have if he had an Inquisitor, that would have been great because he could Inquisit a big card and then Oathbound into Mystic.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have that either.
But, he can play for a while with the Judge and at least maybe get something valuable to pick up off the board. Again, one of his major stressors is that he can't get maximum value out of his hand because he has to worry about an assassin that's actually not in play. Well,
at 6-2, his back is against the wall. He's gonna have to make some decision.
Take a risk. Yeah, he's just gonna have to take the risk. And when you have a hand this bad, you've just got to take. You've got a fairly narrow path to victory. So you got to play hoping that the burn's going your way, and we'll see if he does. Yeti throws away one of his Inquisitors. Probably the right move there. I don't know. It is a desperate situation for Papaya, but we've seen players wriggle out from positions this bad. Papaya certainly has the wherewithal to do it too. So let's see. I mean, you could argue that Yedi wriggled out of a position not much worse than this in the previous hand.
Yeah, but he wasn't staring at 6 points, which was I think the main difference. It's really difficult when it's like this, and Yeti is just being brutal here. His hand is red as red can be.
Yeah,
it's just
all the meat there is to have right now. Yeti's got it, and keeping a soldier, maybe anticipating a Judge play to lead off. He's gonna just throw numbers. Now Papaya can survive numbers, but again, problematic part is surviving is not good enough.
Yeah, he could maybe get 1 point. Or like a 1 point loss out of this, but I can't see him.
Throws the Judge away. Well, there won't be a leadoff Judge here. Judge fans in shambles. This match is gone.
Judge fans in shambles. They're all unsubscribing as we speak.
Yeah. So it's been a brutal set of hands for the Judge fans. Geez, it makes you wonder what Papaya's going to lead off with. I guess soldier would be it. Goes for the assassin, misses.
My heart.
Again, as you mentioned, one of the things in the way of maximizing what little value that hand had.
This is the worst possible outcome. I mean, I'm not saying it's the wrong play. I'm just saying it's the worst possible outcome. On the rock, paper, scissors of things, he misses this soldier. He throws away the judge, and Yedi has a soldier for this. It's just now Yedi is just going to just power overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, again, Papaya, the last thing, saving grace, is Yeti's got to play some beef. And if he plays it out of order or in a way that's not optimal, you can maybe pick some of it up.
Yeah, this hand is immortal here. It's like it's just a brick wall of big cards, and I don't see a winning hand for Papaya here. But again, we've seen harder situations. Says the queen.
Says the queen
just intentionally miss
because he doesn't want to allow for an oathbound play. Just force him to play on the 5. And,
and at this point, you're like, ooh, I should flip.
Yeah,
this sucks.
And again, rather than just not invoking the skill, a missed guess throws a little bit of misdirection in there too, which is what Yeti's doing. So
yeah, but I mean, now Papaya's like, okay, well, you either tuck the assassin or he's bluffing,
Yeah, exactly. So all right, Papaya, not many good options at the moment. Probably we'll just play an Oathbound here just to keep the hand going, would be my guess.
I think you do, just because of the fact that if they have an assassin, then that's, you're not pushing your luck here. You're not trying to just mitigate your hand. So
yeah, when you're this desperate, you've got to play assuming that there's a burn card that's going to help you out. That's what you have to do. Okay, does play the Oathbound to keep the hands going. Yedi with all sorts of options.
Yeah, which one should you use?
Yeah, it's intriguing. Just keeps hitting with the beef, sentry. If you're Papaya, you could 6-1 into something,
Flips.
but a king flips.
I think he's like, okay, push luck.
Yeah, and now if you're at some point, Yeti's going to time that queen. Because he did force the soldiers out, so Papaya, angling maybe to get some bigger beef. The thing you don't want to do if you're Yedi right now is do Warlord. I mean, you can set up a future queen play. There's just nothing good happening for Papaya here.
That queen is probably the right
goes
play.
for the queen now. Okay. So Papaya does have an elder. And
it's funny that, that Oathbound is pretty potent just because of that. But I think, Yedi could comfortably flip here and then just King's Hand a Fool.
That's it.
It's just he's got so many options
King's
here.
Hand insurance for the Fool is just painful because otherwise I don't think he would have played the Queen that early. So Yedi can play a 9'd out Warlord, which would force a 6-1 play.
Correct.
And then, of course, Papaya would pick the queen up with that 6-1 play.
Mm-hmm.
And now things maybe get a little interesting. So there we go. Warlord has to do 6-1. There it is. There goes the queen.
I think Yeti's maybe counting his chickens before they hatch here. He's going last, which is the thing that's going to prevent him from ever losing. That's the big thing. But the safe way to go about it is why not just pick up your Inquisitor and force out something else. You've got the King's Hand for protection against the Fool. I don't think this is going to come back to bite him, but I'm just saying there's some dangerous lines here.
The hand state, if you just look at it, it's not nearly as tilted as it was at the start.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Yeah, that 6-1 to pick up the 9. I think Yedi played the queen too early.
Yeah.
And is probably regretting that right now.
He's still got it though, because that princess is going to be pretty good. Pretty good.
So there's the flip.
Okay, so now he's playing a little bit more safe, a little bit more cautious. I think he's going to win with 1 point actually, which is really funny because that hand didn't
could there
look great.
Be a mystic play here that he could mystic the 8s?
That won't do anything.
Or he can mystic the Inquisitor.
If he mystics the Inquisitor, that still won't do anything. The problem is that princess. You gotta mystic that princess, but she's very powerful.
The princess. Yeah, the princess. You can't get her to shut up. Apparently, Mystic is helpless to do that. So the queen, all right, goes to the queen play to force the princess out now.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yep. So
He's got to force out the princess, otherwise he loses.
well, he has an elder to play than the princess.
Yeah, but that's not. My point is that if you have hand advantage and you have the princess, you're going to swap.
Yep.
So, no ability.
There's the elder, and now King's Hand will end the match, and there it is.
Yep.
Wow, that was a masterclass from Yedi, this match. Papaya with some really tough hands there, some really twisty hands along the way, but it's Yedi who will advance to the lower bracket finals to play a very familiar face in Goose.
It's going to be a familial feud. It's going to be a bombastic brothers brawl. It's going to be I'm done.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be.
Can you give me a reference to two brothers that fight? Is that Cain and Abel? Is that
Cain and Abel is good.
Okay.
You know,
what else?
Say Mario and Luigi and Mario Kart.
I don't think they fight. Oh, in Mario Kart. In Mario Kart.
We've played some Mario Tennis before. You know,
that's true.
They're competitive
with
each other.
Let's just go back. By the way, this is the handstand at the beginning. Can't lose 1 point. I think Papaya did fantastic job of making it turn into, this.
Papaya played that hand as well as you could play it. It was a desperate hand. Made some good decisions along the way. Just wasn't in the cards, in the heart of the cards this time around. But nonetheless, an excellent tournament for Papaya. And I think Papaya's going to step into this interview booth here in Imposter Kings.
That's right.
Stadium.
And in fact, I think people are already in the waiting room. So let's just go ahead and grab them. Papaya. Hello.
Hello. Hear me?
Papaya. Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well. Again, condolences for the match, but an excellently played tournament. Some very hard hand luck in this match. You're definitely set up with some pretty tough hands to play. When you got that last hand, the one going into the final hand of this match, what were your initial thoughts? Because that looked like an extremely difficult hand to play in that hand state, or in that match state.
I'll be honest, I really wanted to press the mulligan button and just say you won.
I was thinking you were going to do that, but I'm glad you didn't.
I was like, we'll play it out.
I'm glad you didn't.
I realized looking back, I think I was supposed to make him go first. The only way I can ever win that hand is if I outlast his hand.
Right.
And that involves me getting the full advantage and going first, because I'm going to have to use at least one Oathbound at some point. Right. Some miracle, he has to discard the wrong card on accident as a misclick. Might be part of my win condition there.
Well, you certainly had a slim line for sure. That's for sure. And I think, as we were saying, if it wasn't 6-2, the way you were playing that hand, I mean, that was fantastic. Based on the cards that you knew and didn't know were there, that was a fantastic line that you took.
Yeah.
I mean, you even missed at the beginning, which was a really tough sentence for you.
The miss at the beginning, I was fine with. I wanted to make sure that there was no assassin in hand yet.
Okay.
So I wasn't too worried about the hit there. Yeah. It's weird because normally on like that type of hand, I would have liked to hold the judge, but maybe I still should have. My win condition might have been hold judge, discard an elder, and hope that one of the royals is out.
Yeah.
But I kind of needed like two of the royals or like King's Hand Assassin, like some combination of those had to be out. But more than one of them, I think. So
fair enough. I think, a lot of analytical plays. I think there's some swings back and forth. There was that one game where I can't even remember which game it was, how far back it was, but it was you had the ability to kind of swing pretty hard with the hand that you had, but he threw away the Oathbound, and then there was another hand where the King's Hand was the discard, but he kept on throwing away Oathbounds as like his discard. Did that kind of throw you for a loop at all, or was that surprising when you saw Elder instead?
A little bit. There were a couple of times where it came down to the end and I was having a little bit of trouble pinpointing exactly what was left. But yeah, overall, I don't know. I think the only hand that I have a complaint about is the second hand. And I don't know. I don't know if I lost my train of thought or what, but that felt like I should have been in a really good spot. And then all of a sudden I was just like, I'm getting 2 pointed here and I don't know how this happened. So that's one I'll have to look back at.
The second hand, and that's the one where it looks like you had Princess, King's hand. Yes, I remember this one. So this is the one where we looked at the hand evaluation and we're like, oh, this is a pretty even hand. But then he came away with 2 points, and it all came down to the fact that he flipped pretty early on that warlord, and then he did. Yeah. This is the play that we thought was kind of big, is that he did that Oathbound into a princess call out. And by getting you to that Oathbound princess call out, you elected to flip. Was it. He elected to swap, and he took the Fool. He gave you the Fool, which gave you 2 dead cards in your hand, which was the Fool and the Assassin.
I think the swap was a mistake. The swap was definitely a mistake. And I guess in my head, he had the Oathbound Fool in his hand, which he had discarded the Oathbound. And I was like, he doesn't give up his Fool here. And then, So other than that, I was very happy with. I think the first hand I was behind, but I managed to make it a 1 point, which was good.
Absolutely.
I think my 2 mulligans were correct. I don't think I have any complaints there. Then the second to last hand where I lost by just 1 point, I think I was happy with that given the hand. So overall, I was pretty happy with the play. It was just some rough hands, and the one hand that was really good, obviously he mulliganed. And we had a couple of close hands, and
instant toss away there.
I think he was definitely like trying to get the momentum still going on his side after you started kind of clawing back in there. But I mean, I think I keep saying, there's a lot of analytical play style from your side. You like the Fool, and you like to go second. You started the first game by going first.
Yes,
and
that was a hand that I reluctantly realized I needed to go first.
And I mean, so in that hand you had essentially, unbeknownst to you, the assassin was gone, but you had a queen, a judge, a soldier, and then on the other side he had, unbeknownst to you, I mean, obviously you didn't know that he didn't have the assassin, but he had a princess, King's hand, mystic. Why did you decide to go first on that? Like, what made that hand with the judge? Why did you led with the judge on an assassin? Why is that hand a go first hand?
Where were the inquisitors in that hand? Was it one for each?
It was one for each.
Yep. So from my perspective, I had 1 inquisitor, no mystic. He had King's hand, likely having King's hand, assassin, inquisitor, which meant that and the mystic.
Mm-hmm.
So from my perspective, my only answer to assassin is my 1 inquisitor, which will likely get King's handed. So I had to look for an opportunity to Oathbound into inquisitor if that judge hits, and if I let him go first and he leads inquisitor, I only had 1 Oathbound, right? It was 1 of each.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. If he leads inquisitor into Oathbound, I have no way of flipping safely from my perspective.
Gotcha.
So
were you looking at a 1 point loss from the beginning?
I was thinking it was possible to come out ahead. I guess I didn't think that far ahead. My just immediate response was, if he leads going first, Inquisitor Oathbound, I am going to get assassinated, and I have no recourse.
Yep, and I mean that was the hand where you had that threatening. He played his queen a little early, he made you play your queen a little early. And then he responded with a princess. And when he responded with a princess, that gave you an edge back into the game with that warlord, that you just basically had that in your hand.
Right.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Papaya, it's been an absolute pleasure having you play and watching, unbeknownst to most people watching, maybe thinking that you've been playing for 2 or 3 years now. You've only picked up the game for what, 3 months?
No, I think I picked it up in like March, so probably 4 now.
Oh my gosh, is it? How many days?
Yeah,
what month are we
July.
at? Yeah. But still, months, not years, right? And you're playing as someone who's played for years. Really cool, and also a unique perspective on how to play the game. It's going to be sad not seeing that, but I think that a lot of other players have taken notice of some of the theories that you've been putting out. So, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you in future tournaments.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Papaya. Congrats again on a wonderful tournament. And we'll see you again in Imposter King Stadium soon.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Wow. What a competitor. It's just, again, always, it's just so sad to see people go. Papaya was one that, as I mentioned, just picked up the game and has brought so much interesting perspective, new meta even, to how he thinks. And I think that first game was actually a really cool, interesting way of, he came into that game thinking, okay, who had the Inquisitors? Split Inquisitors. Okay, I have one Oathbound. I have to do an Oathbound into Inquisitor. I have to go first here. Breaking the convention that he loves to be able to make sure he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. Again, you can just hear, again, it's amazing Papaya's only been playing the game for 4 months. Because, again, you see that kind of deep analytical, not only deep analytical ability in the game, but also the ability not only to play to intuition, but to play against it to find new lines.
Yeah.
And, again, tough hand luck here. And I think in our interview, we pinpointed the exact 2 points where kind of the match swung. That one princess swap was a very big moment. And then in the first hand,
I mean, these hands were so swingy. And, like, there was hand luck, but also it was only 2 points on the mulligan, right? That last hand wasn't great, but I think, that momentum is really important. And we have Yedi with us here. Yedi, congratulations. You're now going to be doing the what was it? The boisterous brother brawl.
The boisterous brother brawl for the lower bracket. It's gonna be
the family feud.
One heck. Now, are you? I guess will you be in the same room when that match is happening?
No, I
and
wish.
Just not trying to look at each other's
Can we
screens, or
just get a camera right above you and have you guys play the physical version? Is that? Do we need to come? Should we fly out? Me and Dan.
Yeah. Probably not. Probably not. But I'm sure if you really wanted to, I'm sure we could coordinate that.
Do not.
You just have to fly out like tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll be there. So I'm gonna start off with just throwing egg on my face at the beginning of the match, saying something along the lines of, "Oh, Yedi always likes to throw away the elders. Didn't throw away one elder, instead threw away 2 Oathbounds at one point. Like just constantly just chucking these Oathbounds and keeping an elder. I think at one point you just kept an elder, even though there wasn't like a clear association there. You had like royalty and a flip. Tell us your thought process. What's going on with these elder tosses?
Or Oathbound.
Oathbound tosses.
The Oathbound tosses, I remember one of them was a toss because I think I had both of them.
Yep.
And so it was just simply hand economy.
It's a
like
6.
Yeah, it's a 6. Yeah, sure, I guess. But like the only reason why a 6 is good is to get them to play their Oathbound on it.
Hold on, can I get that in a quote? The only
maybe
reason.
not the only reason. Yeah, okay, that's a little
great
hyperbolic.
observation, right?
But
because at a 6, you can't play an Oathbound to get something out.
Exactly.
So, yeah, exactly. So 6s beget 6s. It actually, and we saw that in the later hand. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, and then obviously there's always the whole use it as a makeshift soldier that you just whiff on like a judge combo. And if I remember correctly, like it was not a hand that I could afford to Oathbound and use the effect twice. So I was like ditching it, especially if he has watched any of these games. He might be like, wow, he chucks Elder every single time. I know that one of the times I definitely kept the Elder because I was like, Warlord shenanigans or Fool shenanigans, something like that. But yeah, it was just like, it seemed more playable today than it has in the last year. So.
And nothing has changed. So what is that?
I know.
You think that's just good game design, or what's the?
Yeah, it's just good game design by the designer of this game. What can we say?
I've always said,
Real professional.
The Elder's a necessary card, not just like an important card. Like it is vitally necessary in like 5% of hands.
Yeah, and we see those hands, right? When there's an Inquisitor play to fish the Elders out, those are the hands where the Elders are the pin in the grenade, so to speak. And other times it's just a liability because you have other manners of dealing with the royalty.
And what's interesting is that one hand that you lost by 2 points, where you could have made it a 1-point loss, was when you had a King's Hand and a Soldier, I believe, and he used his Judge just in case you had the Oathbound, so it didn't really matter in the end because he still had counterplay to whether you had an Oathbound to dump hand. So it was really funny to me that like every time you dump the Oathbound, it worked out in your favor. And part of that is how much of that is him banking on the fact that you have that threat versus actually executing on that threat. So I think it worked out a lot in your favor. I'm going to have to go back to the games. There's quite a lot of games to analyze here. I I am curious in that last hand there when you played your queen and then he played an elder and then you're like, oh shoot, he has a fool. Did you predict that was going to happen, or did you feel like you should have flipped earlier, or like, what was your thought process there?
I didn't want to flip because the thing with those hands, it's always very funny because obviously I had a very stacked hand on that last one. Assassin can actually be a very viable tool because if you can get the person that has the meat to flip, yeah, you might not kill them, but it gets rid of an 8.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just the last thing that you need. That's the last answer that you need to their stack.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't necessarily want to flip because just in case I was kind of playing around the assassin in that way, and that's kind of how that game ended. Is I realized, okay, he's flipped. If he has assassin, I need to flip now so I can king's hand that and get the value from the flip, even if it was just on a 1.
So that was the early flip, was trying to just get that out of the way.
On the last hand, no, that was the very late flip on the fool.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of times my flips are oriented around assassin play and fool play.
And I think, you probably just realize that you have the safety valve of that princess swap.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Well, and we have to say the thing that was really impressive about that first hand was it looked like a pretty good, or maybe it was the second hand, where you were able to give him 2 dead cards, which was the fool and the assassin. How did you feel about that? Were you planning on some sort of exchange to be able to have that? Is that why you kept the fool around instead of playing it? What was your thought process there?
I was going into that hand thinking, oh my gosh, like going into that play where he swapped, thinking I am so screwed. I was panicking because I was like, I have what was it? I think royalty, and then an elder, a fool, and an inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he plays like a 5 and I lose.
Well, you did the really good play. Thumbs up again. You did the really good play where you were able to get him to play. I can't remember what you forced him to play. I think he forced you to play. I can't remember exactly what happened. I could look at the tapes, but I think the big thing was that you oathbound into inquisited out his princess, which forced him to do that swap. And so kudos to you on that. Don't want to hold you all night, but just wanted to say congratulations. You will be fighting up against Goose. I hope you're ready to finally knock him down a peg or two. We'll see. I'm going to be neutral once we get into the Imposter King Stadium, but I'm sure he's got it coming. So
yeah, it's going to be an incredible match. I think everyone is looking forward to that match, very much so, and I know I am. And congrats again for one superbly played round of Imposter Kings.
Are you going to do anything to prep for it?
I'm going to go over all of his meme plays.
Really?
Because if there's any, maybe not quite, but like if there's anything that Goose is really good at is playing unpredictable.
You think he's going to pull out the old Inquisitor?
Oh, against me? Yes, because he loves to meme on me. You have to realize he was and now granted, I'm assuming that you have more knowledge about the game because you've had so many hours, but like when we were starting to do, like when he was starting to like joke around and do things, I think I was the first person where a princess was played and then an Inquisitor was handed to me.
You mean an elder?
Yeah, sorry, an elder, yeah. So, and I was like, oh, okay. And the next hand I lost because he played Warlord.
Oh yeah,
so
it's the old Princess Gambit.
Yeah, I was always his little guinea pig for a long time.
Well, but that means you know all his tricks, but
in theory.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see at lower bracket. He's sitting here watching you. He's probably talking in chat right now. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see what happens. I'm pretty excited about it.
It's 100% unmissable. For folks watching this match is going to be 100% unmissable.
If there's anything I can say that's a guarantee about the match, it's going to be either super sweaty or it's going to be really funny.
Those are both fun things.
Hey, if sweaty or funny, it's going to be fun.
You know,
if folks got
tempt me with a good time, why don't you?
Exactly right.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you so much. We will be seeing you back here in Imposter King Stadium pretty soon, whenever we can get that match arranged. And then right after that, it's going to be the grand finals. Oof.
That's right. The winner of that match will go on to face the kid in the finals.
One
for
of the brothers.
Of the chips.
And is it like one of those situations where if like one of you loses, the other one like absorbs that person, so that way they can have all their energy towards the kid? Or
I hope not. I don't want to be absorbed. That sounds awful.
I didn't say who. I just said whoever
I know,
loses.
but like if I do lose, I would
You
like
know,
to
there's
survive.
Come on, you're gonna come in there. You're gonna go guns blazing. And maybe you're gonna be absorbing Goose. Who knows? But all right. Thank you. I'm not going to make any Dragon Ball references, I promise, tonight.
I feel like that
more
was
Yu-Gi-Oh thing, but
absorbing people?
wow, why not?
Fusing?
Where do you think the heart of the cards came from? Someone fused the card?
I don't think the heart of the cards came from stealing other people's hearts.
No, you do take their souls though sometimes. But here, I'm gonna not. Here's my one DBZ reference. Namekians can take other people. You can
All right, well, now we got that settled.
I'm just saying that you're Piccolo and he's Nail. So. All right.
Okay, I'll take that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And we'll catch you in the next game.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Congrats again.
Bye.
All right. Well, again, a very incredible competitor. Congrats again
Yep.
to Yedi. There's some things to plug here, Cena. So the next match is a big time match. There's only 2 matches left in this tournament. The lower bracket finals and then the finals.
The finals.
And the finals.
Final squared.
You won't want to miss. The lower bracket finals you won't want to miss.
Well, I think it's actually, you can't miss it. It's unmissable.
It's unmissable. It's 100% unmissable. You wouldn't dare. And we're going to get that scheduled as quickly as possible so we can promote the ever-loving heck out of it. By that,
you
I
could
mean,
promote it too. Those of you watching right now on this
That's right.
YouTube
Go
video,
tell-
John, I want you to promote someone. This is going to really freak out someone named John.
Yeah, we're really using the full power of Twitch here. But again, it'll be an exciting, thrilling match.
Yep.
I hope we see you all there. Also,
Yeah, I think.
I'm just going to plug my own thing here really quickly.
Please do.
For those of you who like things that involve Michael Hirschon art, like
That's the person,
Kings,
like the Imposter Kings.
who made the Imposter
You
King.
see this king right
drew
back
the
here?
Imposter Kings, brought them to visual life. He has also produced the art for a new audio drama that will be premiering later this year, within the month, most likely. The trailer to be emerging soon, called Metropolis.
I hope you have it ready for the grand finals.
Oh boy, I will and can, folks. But it's written and produced by yours truly, and it'll be coming to a pod system near you. It is a murder mystery in neon utopia. So for those of you who are interested or are intrigued by that log line, it is at luxradium.org. We'll drop it in the chat, luxradium.org. And if you want to know when it goes out, just sign up on that emailing list. I will make it worth your while.
That's right. And I actually have to do something similar for Imposter Kings.
Yeah.
Because there's some new stuff coming out at some point.
I don't want to give it away, but I got to tell you, if you're playing the paper game and you want something beautiful to have underneath your cards.
It's not just that. It's
Well,
more than that.
It's
Dan.
more than that.
It's more than
I
that,
don't
ladies
give
and gentlemen.
everything away.
All right. Well, what I'm just trying to say is I need to put one of those like email thingies on my site too.
You gotta get an email subscribe.
I got to get a subscriber
The
account.
people demand it, and for those of you who watch this game are really having fun with it, join the Discord as well. We'll drop the link for the Discord. It's a wonderful community of really lovely people, and we'll keep you abreast of all the latest in the tournament stuff. Did you know that there are prizes associated with this tournament? I bet you didn't, because we never mentioned it on camera. But there are prizes.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And the prizes will be announced soon. Thank you, Dan, for that impetus. And, stay royal.
Stay royal.
Thanks, everyone.